It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition. I am your host, Evan Bernstein, and joining me today is a guy who always brings the heat with his reviews, the man behind Zach Attack Reviews. It is Zach. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for the great welcomes every time. I appreciate you, my friend.
Of course. No, I appreciate you being here as always. And we got a great show today. We got a ton of stuff to get into. Two of arguably the hottest guys on the planet are going to be in a Miami Vice reboot, possibly. Andy Muschietti is teasing that we might find out who our DCU Batman is in the next few months. We're going to get into some GOAT or nope debates that are surely going to piss off some people, and I can't wait. And unfortunately, yes, the bidding war has started for Warner Brothers, and the bids are getting out there and getting denied. James Gunn addressed some of the exit rumors if there is a purchase of Warner Brothers. So we're going to get into his thoughts on it and dissect his comments on it, if you will. And then we're going to talk about this Star Wars movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo, that was canceled, that has everyone up in a roar because apparently Kylo Ren, they really want now after all. So surprise, surprise. Yeah, we're going to get into it and I can't wait. Before we do though, I wanted to get into some housekeeping. What up, Kenny? Driving home from my nap in the theater. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign, but that review says it all. Before we get into any of this great news, I want to get into what is going on the internets. And what I mean by that is, you know, as a content creator, you're putting yourself out there. You're putting, you know, like Zach, you're putting your friends out there when they're on your show, when you're making clips. And some of it can be hot takes. I want to remind people, when you love something so passionately, you know, whether it's Michael Keaton's Batman or Superman Returns randomly, that is the best thing because it means that it hit you in some kind of way. And that is the most beautiful part about this. However, when you have discussions online about this stuff that you feel really passionate about, it's okay to talk about it, explain your point of view, listen to another person, hear out their point of view, and have a conversation. That's the best part. But when it becomes a little bit more vitriol and you get really angry and you start calling people names, or you just say nope to a comment or a take that Zach and I or someone on the show had, it's not really like you're curious and you want to have a conversation about it. Seems like you just want to be right and tell everyone that you're right without backing it up at all. And so that isn't really what this show is about. If you leave a comment, even if you don't agree, leave it as long as you're willing to say why you feel that way and maybe start a conversation with someone else that doesn't feel that way and see their point of view. That's how you have great conversations about this stuff. So I've just noticed some stuff online of the words and the language that is used by some people, and I get it. This stuff hits you in a different way. This stuff is nostalgic. You grew up on it. You feel strongly about it, and that is the best part about this stuff. But when you want to have a conversation about it, try to do it in a more respectful way. That's all I'm asking. I hope you guys can agree. And if you do feel like you need to say something and it's going to be derogatory to someone and maybe hurt their feelings, do it on someone else's show. Don't do it on mine. That's enough said. So wanted to put that out there, as I'm sure Zach has already experienced many times over on the comments on the show and being in this game for a while. But I'm going to keep reminding you guys, because this is supposed to be fun, but we got to respect each other even when you don't agree with them. Everything hits everyone differently. So,
Of course.
that being said, let's get into some news. And I want to talk a little bit about this. As stated before, Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler are not only the hottest movie stars when it comes to getting all the roles, but also on looks as well. And apparently, these bad boys are going to be forcing women to bring mops to the movie theater for the reboot of Miami Vice. This comes to us from Variety. They say Austin Butler is in early talks to star in Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice reboot for Universal Pictures. If the deals ultimately close, Butler would play James Sonny Crockett opposite Michael B. Jordan as Ricardo Rico Tubbs, the suave South Florida detectives portrayed originally by Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas in the classic 80 TV series. Of course, there was a reboot in the 2006 Michael Mann directed Miami Vice starring Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx as the first big screen adaptation, but it seems like we are in store for a new adaptation with some young, hot Hollywood faces. As you know, Butler soared to the top of Hollywood's leading man list after playing rock and roll legend Elvis Presley in Baz Luhrmann's movie of 2 years ago. I believe that was now 2 or 3 years ago. On top of that, Michael B. Jordan is making everyone clamor to go see their movie twice because he starred as the twin vampires in this year's hit Sinners. And of course, to add the cherry on top of the cake, we have Kosinski, who is coming out with Top Gun Maverick, blowing people away with this year's F1 movie and proving that he is a director that demands your attention when he's putting something out there. So apparently we got a movie coming, Miami Vice reboot, and it's coming fast because typically in talks means that they are far along in the casting process, pretty much just trying to figure out a number that both sides
The dollars.
agree to.
Yeah.
The dollars. So I want to ask you, what do you think of this dynamic duo coming together for a Joseph Kosinski-led Miami Vice reboot movie?
I have mixed feelings because originally it said Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell. And I envisioned that, and I thought that those two guys would work really well together chemistry-wise.
Yeah.
Gotta see how Austin Butler, because they both play really cool guys. And I felt like Glenn Powell knows how to be a little bit more silly. So I thought they would bounce off better. But it could give a chance for one of them to play something different from what they usually do. And I think I need to see Austin Butler play something different. He is someone that is a budding movie star in terms of like a lot of people seem to like him in the film bro space, but the general consensus of people don't really want to go see him in movies, right? Like he started Caught Stealing this year. That didn't do too well. He was in that biker movie with Tom Hardy. That didn't do too well. Nobody really knew it was him in Dune. So he can't really get as much credit as he deserved because he did a great job in that movie.
Great.
But he always kind of plays a variation of a cool guy that you want to be like, he's the coolest guy on the screen. I would like for him to play something. I know Miami Vice is two cool guys, but I would like him to be a little bit, maybe like a cool guy that's a little bit more of a goofball or just have some more fun in it. And then with Joseph Kosinski, I think this is perfect for him. I think the feel of this franchise, this movies are perfect for him. The boat scenes are going to be awesome. Whatever car chases they have are going to be awesome. The action is going to be amazing, and he knows how to direct actors who have strong screen presence. You know, Brad Pitt and why am I forgetting Top Gun Maverick guy?
Oh, Miles Teller
and the main guy,
Samson Idris. What? Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
he knows how to direct movie stars really well.
He does. That's a good point.
He's definitely going to bring it out of both of these. So I'm very curious. I think I might have rather Glenn Powell a little bit more, but I'm excited for Austin Butler because I do like him and I want to see him like blow up because he seems like a good guy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it made more sense just because Glenn Powell worked on Top Gun Maverick with this director already. And so there was already a relationship there, but nothing was set in stone. I think people were more like fan casting than anything, which is a great fan cast. And I think that's a great duo. But when you put a great actor in a fun role, there's no issues with that. And Austin Butler has proved time and time again that he is more than a face, just like Brad Pitt earlier in his career, where people thought he was just the model, the hot guy. And then he showed you in these amazing movies coming up and these great roles that you would not think he would take, like, 7 or 12 Monkeys, things that really stretch his acting prowess.
Yeah.
And so I hope Austin Butler is doing that same thing. And I think Caught Stealing was another step in that direction of the guy that doesn't have it all figured out, not the cool guy. But for this role in particular, it's always about the chemistry between the partners.
Yep.
And for some reason, I don't know if they've tested or if they had Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan in a room together or whatever it was, they felt like maybe this was going to lend itself well to a really strong and fun partnership on the big screen. So I, for one, am really excited. I think these are two fantastic actors. And I think Joseph Kosinski, he has stepped up in every movie and has learned from it and gotten better. You can see the trajectory from like Tron Legacy to Oblivion to Top Gun Maverick to F1. Everything that he's done has prepared him for the next role. And I think he's a real big, smart director when it comes to these big blockbuster movies that not a lot of people are really talking about. And this movie, if it takes off, it could turn into a potential franchise. So I think it's really exciting to see him get these two big name actors. And it means that they're taking this movie very seriously and they want this thing to like really pop off. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. And I think Kosinski is an underrated blockbuster director. We don't have many of those anymore. Right. We have Nolan, we have Denis. But outside of those two, we have like Spielberg, but he like does stuff when he wants to.
Yeah.
So we don't have many blockbuster directors, like ones that you could take super serious. So I'm excited that Kosinski is starting to get into that space where he makes blockbusters that people care about and has a little bit of soul in them, so it doesn't just feel like a cash grab. Like F1 could have easily felt like a cash grab, but he did a good job of adding something in there that we can make sure we care about the characters.
That's the key, right? Is to have the spectacle, but still make people care. And so I think there's two different types of directors. There is a Michael Bay type director that is more spectacle over story and the heart of the story. And then there's Joseph Kosinski, who loves the spectacle, but believes that if you don't have the heart into the story to make people truly care about these characters, then the action's not going to matter. And that's why I really think Joseph Kosinski is standing out as one of the best blockbuster directors doing it right now. Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. Are you excited for a Miami Vice reboot with two of, the hottest guys in the game? Austin Butler, Michael B. Jordan. Ladies, get your mops. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. So, forgot my banners and everything. I wanted to get into this. So, as you guys know, the biggest question about the DCU is, who is our Batman? When are we getting him? And when is at least an announcement coming? Because we want to know. We want to start picturing it in our minds. When we look at David Corenswet's Superman, what is a Batman going to look like standing next to him? And I think that's really important. And I think James Gunn and Andy Muschietti know that's important, because recently on the interview circuit of the Welcome to Derry TV series on HBO, Muschietti's been getting some questions about what's going on with Batman. Are you still attached? When are we going to find out anything? And here's what he had to say. This comes to us from IGN. They say Batman's arrival in the rebooted DCU is perhaps the most anticipated super reveal in James Gunn's fledgling new universe. I just said that. And Andy Muschietti, director of 2017's It, in the follow-up It Chapter 2 and 2023's clinical and commercial failure, The Flash, is down to direct the Batman Brave and the Bold for James Gunn's DCU, but we haven't heard much in the past year. But Andy Muschietti, as he was interviewing for HBO's It, Welcome to Derry, he did confirm that, yes, the intention is still to direct it. It's still going to be the Brave and the Bold, but we can't talk about it. Then Andy Muschietti perhaps went further than he was allowed to when he added, we have to wait a couple months to start talking about it. I screwed it already, is what he said. Variety framed this as Andy Muschietti realizing that saying he has to wait a couple months to talk about his Batman movie may itself have been letting slip too much information, which says a lot about the secrecy surrounding this movie. But if that's true, then we may get our first proper insight into what Gunn and Muschietti have planned for the DCU's Batman by the end of the year. As you guys know, last month, Gold told IGN that plenty of things are in flux when it comes to the Brave and the Bold. He says, I like where we are on the script. Gunn previously called Damian Wayne a little SOB, and also his favorite Robin back early when him and co-CEO Peter Safran unveiled the Gods and Monsters slate. And so it seems like maybe Muschietti slipped on, we possibly are getting an announcement of who could be our Batman in the next few months, potentially at the end of this year. I want to ask you, based on the comments from Muschietti, and of course the comments that we've talked about previously with James Gunn, what do you think about the potential that we will be getting an actual announcement of who could be playing Batman within the next few months? And if that is truly what Muschietti meant when he said, whoops, I already screwed it.
I think that they have the script, and I think that they have the couple people they have in mind to play Batman, and they're keeping it tight under wraps. I feel like what James Gunn is doing, which is I think is really smart, and his team is giving out mixed signals of stuff so that people won't go digging. Because there's been reports that Muschietti was out on Batman. Now he's saying, no, I'm still doing it. And all these different, James Gunn saying, oh, it's really hard to figure Batman out and all this other stuff. I think that they're purposely throwing our wires different places. So what happens with the MCU where like everything is just thrown out into the rumor mill all the time, doesn't happen. Like now that Andy said this, now everybody's going to be running with this. Oh my God, who's going to be Batman? And they start fan casting. And everybody's fan casting, and instead of trying to dig for more information. So I think they're doing a smart job. I think they have what they need to get it done. Andy, despite the Flash not doing so well critically and commercially, is talented. And I think that he has written a script that James Gunn likes. And I think that we're going to have a Batman. I think with Clayface coming soon, and with James Gunn saying we need to focus more on the Justice League members, him like saying that out loud. Because first it felt like he wasn't. It felt like he was just going to do a bunch of obscure characters, and then we'll get the Justice League members in random spots. But I feel like now that there's more of a focus, like, okay, Zaslav wants the big money characters out. I think they have their Batman, and they're just going to wait for the perfect time to drop it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And honestly, shoot me if you want. I am the Flash apologist. Yes, does it have really bad CGI at a lot of the parts? Yeah, it does. But it is an overall pretty entertaining and fun movie to see Michael Keaton back as the Batman and be able to fight in a style that he wasn't able to do because the technology didn't exist in 89 is a really great way to show how awesome Michael Keaton is as Batman. Sarah Callies, who played Supergirl, did a fantastic job and there were some really great moments between her and the other cast members. So, you know, a lot of people poo-poo on The Flash, but I don't think it is a bad movie by any means.
I
I
agree.
think it got run through by, you know, the controversy with the lead actor and you know, the purchase or the rebranding of the DCEU to the DCU in the middle of it with a new head of studio and, you know, all this stuff really played a role into having that bad boy perform that badly. But
And James Gunn
overall,
saying it's the greatest superhero, one of the greatest superhero movies ever
Yeah.
created, did not help that movie at all.
no, he was trying. He was lying out his teeth, but he was trying. But I was highly entertained. And I think Andy Muschietti, the one thing that you can't deny is that he is a very character-driven director. He loves the characters in the sandboxes he gets to play in. Like, he really, really looks around and appreciates the position he is and takes full advantage of it, whether it's you know, chapter 2, a lot of people talk ish about it, but whether you know, talk crap or not, you can't deny that, like, he is a very character-driven director, and that's what you need for a Batman or a Bat family movie, is someone that's truly going to care about the characters and have those interactions matter and make sense to the story. And I think Andy Muschietti is the director that could pull that off. So I am happy that at least we're getting some kind of confirmation that he is still on the movie.
Yeah.
When it comes to Batman and the announcement, I don't know if his comments quite mean that we're getting a casting announcement. It could easily mean that we are getting a date announcement for when this is coming out and a writer and director is fully confirmed. It could easily mean that instead of we're going to find out who Batman is before we even know what the story is. All we know is Batman Brave and the Bold, Bat Family. That's really all we know. We haven't gotten any real concrete details. So
Yeah.
I wish it was, but I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. Before we move on from this, I do want to ask you, do you have anyone in mind that you would like to play Batman? I know, you know, Yellowstone guy, you know, is people are hot on his name. You know, 1923 guy. I can't think of his name. Who would I'd rather have him play Indiana Jones, but you know what I'm talking about. He was on Drop, you know, in the movie Drop.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard people really want him as Batman.
Yeah, I don't want to lead you to that. I just know that's like a hot one. Is there anyone that you have in mind that you would like to see up next to David Cornsweet? Don't get it, David Cornsweet.
They are going an older route because if Damian Wayne is in play, that means this Batman needs to be at least in his 40s.
Yeah.
Because he's a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have fan casted John Hamm. I don't know if it's finally time to give him the shot. I think
he's too old. He's like 60.
He's like, yeah, but there's some people playing a lot older than.
And he is fantastic. Like Your Friends and Neighbors on his show on Apple. Did you get a chance to watch that?
No, I heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
You got to get back in the TV game, brother. There is so many good, but your list is growing and growing for movies. But this show is really good. He does. If they announced John Hamm today, I would not be mad. I think he is a fantastic actor, like hands down. You cannot go wrong. But is there anyone that you have in mind that you're like, I want him to be the Batman?
So there's this guy who I discovered through Mike Flanagan's work on Netflix, Haunting Hill House, Haunting a Blind Manor, called Oliver Jackson Cohen. That's his name. He also was in The Invisible Man.
I wanted him for Moon Knight. Night.
I know he was up for Moon Knight. A lot of people wanted him to because he's more the ethnicity of the character from the comics and everything. But I do think he has a range there where he can play emotional really well. He can play charming really well, and he also can play really, really brooding.
Did you see the show Surface with Gugu and Bathura?
No, that's
Bethel.
another show I had on my list to watch, and I
Okay.
haven't watched it. He's in that too?
He is in that. And I could see some Batman. Like I
Yeah.
I I think that is such a good pick, dude, because he is so good at playing this tortured soul with this vulnerability at the same time, and he has a great voice. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And you also, since you picked David Cornswet, who's unknown, right? So you just pick unknowns to play this. You don't want
Yep.
anybody being too big, because with the MCU, they picked Robert Downey Jr., but Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson were already known. It's not like they
Yeah.
came in and nobody knew. People knew who Jeremy Renner was. I think Chris Hemsworth was the only one that was kind of unknown until Thor happened.
Oh,
But for
no,
the most part,
100%. No,
yeah, for the most part, everyone knew who Mark Ruffalo was.
I agree. Let the role make the actor.
Yeah.
Don't let the actor make the role.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's the mistake sometimes they make with superhero movies. They cast these actors, and then the actor's personality take over the character instead of them playing the character. That looks like Bruce Wayne.
I think you're on to something. 86 is a little young, but he's almost 40, right? He's 39.
Yeah.
So that's right there. The voice, the brooding, he can get big. He's over 6 feet. Like, there's all these things that check the box. He can look suave. He can look haggard. Like, there's such a, when we talked about the casting for Batman based on the comments James Gunn made, there's such a specific thing. He was talking about how hard it is to cast Batman because he's in the cowl. But you're not just casting Batman when you're casting Batman. You are casting Bruce Wayne and Batman. So the person that you cast, it needs to embody two different characters at the same time. And that is not an easy task for an actor. So I really think you're right that this actor is definitely someone, Oliver Jackson Cohen is definitely someone that can embody both characters.
Yeah, and Penny in the chat says something interesting. I would love for this to happen. I know it's never gonna be a thing that happens. If we get to the movie and we don't know who the actor is, I would love for them to figure out one day to do that.
That would be insane.
Announce a superhero movie. We don't know who's casted months in advance, so people have to debate and all that crap. And then once they finally or the trailer starts and it's like, oh, he's the one that's got casted. That would be great.
Yeah. Don't do it in a show. Don't do it in Peacemaker. I don't want any of that. If you're going to do it, it needs to be in one of the big three. So if you have a Superman movie again, I'm okay with that. If you have a Wonder Woman movie, if you're going to tease him in someone else's project, the project needs to be worthy of having a Batman be introduced in that project.
I got a question now that you said that. What about, because there are two Batman spin-offs happening, right? One announced, one in the works.
Dynamic
How
duo,
would you,
right?
Yeah, dynamic. No, I'm talking about Deathstroke and Bane.
Oh, okay. But that it's not announced, right? Like there's no movement on
it. They had a writer attached and stuff. Like, it's not officially announced, but it's like in the works, because
he needs to be in that.
Batista said he tried to go for Bane and they told him no. That's what I'm saying. Like Clayface and that, right? I feel like if he showed up in those, not only does it elevate those projects, but also makes sense because those are his characters. I don't want it to be a situation with Venom and Morbius and Madam Web where we get these spin-off characters that need to be attached to the hero, and the hero's nowhere to be found.
No, I agree. It needs to make sense for the project. And of course, anything Gotham related, Batman related makes sense. I just think what they're trying to do with Clayface is like in the vein of like Joaquin's The Joker, where it feels like it's standalone. It feels like it's building the universe, but it's the Clayface's story, and they want to get like critic love. It seems like they really want like the substance within the vein for him to be like, look, we have, a tour type Clayface movie. We have a space adventure Supergirl movie. We have a True Detective galaxy hunting, show. Like, I think he's really trying to stretch, look at all the things that we can do at the same time and have it all be a part of the same universe. So I would love it. I just feel like in James Gunn's mind, he's like, oh, but it'll take away from the Clayface movie. You know what I mean? Is like the sense that I'm getting from his attitude on it. Like he really
That
wants
makes
us to
total
be like
sense.
a tour driven.
That makes total sense, especially the way he's talked about Clayface. It does sound like it's something that they think could potentially
Okay.
garner awards. So putting Batman in it, even though they did put Bruce Wayne and Joker, and they kind of hinted to the greater universe in the first movie, I think it was so small that it didn't affect the film's Oscar chances. So I could definitely see them not
Yeah.
wanting to even do like an after credit scene with
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, that makes sense. But only time can tell. And you did make me extremely frustrated because now all I'm going to think about is how Oliver Jackson Cohen is the perfect Batman. And I need it to happen because wasn't even on my radar. And I love that casting. I love that that is a great casting. So you crushed it on that. And now I'm going to get you back because we got some good or no. So I'm going to make you frustrated, brother.
I
Okay.
think Black saw Johnny Hex said he wanted Tobey Maguire. That would be insane.
Yeah, I just think he's too much like scrawny and weaselly. I don't know.
He probably
don't
could
see him
get
as like a
bigger.
brooding
Oh, okay.
force. You know what I mean?
Have you seen Not Brothers? What's that movie he's in with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That
Or
was
his rage is good. Like even he's like, they lied to me, Carmine. You know, like in like the chess movie or whatever. Like they always meme that, like him lying. Like, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think that we are going to get a announcement on the Batman casting per what Andy Muschietti is saying on the It tour right now? And if so, do you have a casting in mind for Batman that maybe we haven't thought of? Drop your comments below and let us know what you guys think. All right, guys, with that down, as promised, we got a goat or nope. Please, if you're in the chat, play along. This is, my friends, the segment Goat or Nope.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
If you have not played Goat or Nope before, just to let you know, we're going to put two images above, and we are going to have to decide who is the GOAT of these two images. It could be a franchise. It could be a saga. It could be an actor. It could be a character. But you have to choose between these two, even if you're like, you know what, but I have someone else that's way better than these two. We still got to choose the GOAT between these two. And first up is, of course, you guys may have seen it in the description, which is the GOAT Penguin, Colin Farrell or Danny DeVito. Dun, dun, dun. This is a hard one. I'll just put it out there. When I was building it, I was like, this is simple because of recency bias, of course. But if you go back and you watch Batman Returns, you are like, one, this is the thing of nightmares and scared me all to heck when I was a little kid. And two, this is so Penguin. It's so on the nose. But like the top hat, the disgustingness, the sewer dwelling, his henchmen, there's just so much that make him Penguin. And then when you go to Colin Farrell, you were like, this feels like if Penguin existed in our world today.
Mm-hmm.
What he did with this character, it is arguably the best villain portrayed on big or small screen in history. I'm not saying it's the Joker, Heath Ledger, anything like that, but I am saying he has now put himself in the conversation for best portrayals for a comic book villain of all time. So now is the time to decide, my friend, now that I've been filibustering for you, of these two fantastic and very different portrayals of the Penguin, which is your GOAT?
I'm going to have to go with Danny DeVito for Batman Returns. And it's a similar reason why when we talked about Christian Bale versus Robert Pattinson, where I love Robert Pattinson's performance, but he's not fully fledged Batman, while Christian Bale was a fully fledged Batman. He was the whole character. Danny DeVito is the Penguin. Colin Farrell at the end of the series got to where the Penguin would be in the comics, but we didn't get to see him be that guy, get really like over the top and own the Iceberg Club and start doing things on his own. It was
Right.
kind of like the coming up story and things like that, which was great.
He's still getting there.
Yeah, he's still on the up. We're probably going to see it in Batman too, since he's going to be in that film more. But as of right now, where they stand, I think Danny DeVito for me is the GOAT.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's wrong, but no, I'm just kidding. I, you know, this is so hard for me because Colin Farrell blew us away with his performance of the Penguin. I mean, from the prosthetics to the acting, to the voice, to the story. I mean, the good thing with Colin Farrell is that the scripts were so good and the storytelling was so tight that it just invigorated something in Colin Farrell to have like one of the best performances of his career.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to the best portrayal of Penguin, when you think about the Penguin, you can't help but think about how comic book accurate Danny DeVito's The Penguin is from comic books pages to movie screen. And this was so hard for me. But at the end of the day, when you look at the Penguins with Danny DeVito, you're like, this is the Penguin from top to bottom without saying a word. This is the Penguin. When you look at Colin Farrell, you're like, is this Richard Kind, the actor? No, but you're like, okay, but like, I need a little bit more. Like, I need to watch the story. And then I'm starting to be like, this is the Penguin through and through. This dude, Danny DeVito, barely has to say a word. And you're like, this is frightening. And this is the Penguin.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you know, the hands, the storyline of being the mayor, Oswald Cobblepot, from being a wealthy to being thrown away in the sewers. It's just everything is there straight from the comics. And you can't help but think like, this is the Penguin. When I think of the Penguin, this is the image burned into my mind. It's so iconic the way Danny DeVito played it. It's disgusting. It's hard to look at times. That is the Penguin. Not saying that Colin Farrell's the Penguin is a very handsome chap by any means, but I just think Dan DeVito takes the cake when it comes to what the Penguin is from the comics to the big screen.
And it's so iconic that it's affected every animated showing of the character afterwards. It's all of them seem similar to the performance of Danny DeVito.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we're going to see more of it. So can this debate change in a couple years when we potentially get a season 2 or, you know, seeing the Batman part 2 or 3? Of course. But right now, it's just Danny DeVito is so iconic, this image when it comes to the character Penguin. So I agree. All right. Drop a comment below. Let us know who is your GOAT Penguin, or maybe we didn't have one up on here and you want to suggest one. We'd love to hear your thoughts. With that down, I wanted to get into this GOAT or Nope. Which is the GOAT or Nope action spy thriller saga? The Bourne Identity or the Mission Impossible saga? Got you back.
Oh no. See, this is why I can't let you on to my stream. Because you heard me go talk about how much I love Bourne Ultimatum, and then you're going to disrespect me like this. As soon as you said Spy Saga, I was like, oh no, he's going to do Bourne versus Mission Impossible.
And that's what creators do, right? They take from their experiences and they put it into their art.
This is only hard because I don't want to disrespect the Bourne franchise because I love.
I know. And it's hard because, you know, Mission Impossible is this interesting franchise that, you know, started out really a tour and really cool, then became very like shoot 'em up and generic. And then it got redone into this amazing theater going action experience that you need to witness to behold. So it had a long journey that got itself to a reputation of being an iconic franchise, which, 10 years ago or more, it was almost out the door, and it was revitalized with great filmmakers to become a very iconic spy action thriller saga.
Yeah, for me, it's Mission Impossible. I think these are some of the greatest, if not the greatest, action movies that we've ever gotten. 4, 5, 6 are
For
probably
Mission Impossible,
for Mission Impossible, probably the greatest action movies we've
Ghost
ever
Protocol,
Rogue Nation,
and
Fallout.
Free Guy. No, Fallout.
Free Guy.
That's the
Only.
next one. Those
Hashtag give me Free Guy too.
It's seriously, please. It is very, very reminiscent of 4, 5, and 6 for 5, 6, and 7 for Fast and the Furious. You know what I mean? Like, it's not every day that a big franchise hits its stride in the middle and you're like, now it's iconic. So this is hard because for Bourne Identity, out the gate, this revitalized how we see action spy thrillers. It revitalized the entire genre out the gate, and then it hit some lulls. And then with Jason Bourne, people were like, that was good. But that's kind of where we're at with that franchise. So very much both of these had a little bit of a roller coaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, especially with Mission Impossible 2, which a lot of people don't like. I like that movie, but it is the worst of the 8 movies that we have. But being the worst of a phenomenal franchise is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be Mission Impossible, because even I said 4, 5, and 6, but 3 is great as well. I love 7, and 8 is a mess, but I love 8 as well. So I have to pick Mission Impossible. Fallout is so good that it trumps any of the other Bourne movies just on its own.
Yeah, it's like it's Dark Knight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the franchise's Dark Knight. This was hard for me because, as you talked about on Movie Club, the Bourne Identity trilogy, the original trilogy, means a lot to a lot of people who are moviegoers. It really revitalized this genre in a big bad way in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it put Matt Damon on the map, and the way it was shot, of course, people now poo-poo on shaky cam, but the action, the way it thought, I mean, it paved the way for more iconic stuff like John Wick and a lot of action that we see today. It influenced that. Arguably, it influenced what we see on Mission Impossible. You know what I mean? So it is hard. But at the end of the day, I think I have to go with Mission Impossible because it's just that much more of a consistently good saga. Every movie since 3 has arguably gotten better than the last. And it's very hard for a saga to say that. And unfortunately, Bourne Identity, with the 3 or 2 movies that came out after, it didn't get that kind of love. And so for right now, I do have to say that Tom Cruise's, I would love to see that swap. Please, someone AI that. I will have to say that Mission Impossible is the GOAT spy action thriller for now. Whew. I had to put that out there. But that is GOAT or Nope. Let us know your GOAT or Nope. Was there a action spy saga that we might have forgot that you think takes the cake? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. That, my friends, was...
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. As we've seen in the news and we've heard the rumblings, Warner Brothers is on the market and the sell sign is stuck in the grass. And David Zaslav is saying, show me your bids because we're taking all bids. Yeah. And unfortunately, that means the storied and iconic studio, Warner Brothers, will be purchased by a big conglomerate very, very soon. Again. This comes to us from hell. No, this comes to us from the New York Post. They say Warner Brothers Discovery has launched a formal auction of the media giant with bankers at JP Morgan and Allen and Co. combing through expressions of interest from multiple suitors, including one from Paramount Skydance, the Post has learned. And now, after this story, it has been 3 bids that WBD has denied thus far. We're going to get a little bit into where we are at with these bids and who are the players in this bidding war that is starting for Warner Brothers. The owner of Warner Brothers Studio, HBO, and CNN held a board meeting last Thursday morning with bankers and advisors to discuss the process, sources have said. Prospective bidders have been sent non-disclosure agreements required to access WBD's financials. Of particular interest to WBD, that's Warner Brothers Discovery for the uninitiated, is the question of how to deal with the most aggressive of bidders, Paramount Skydance, the newly created giant media conglomerate headed by CEO David Ellison, according to people with direct knowledge of the matter. They say Ellison, the son of Oracle's billionaire co-founder Larry Ellison, has been slowly ramping up pressure on Zaslav to sell. In recent weeks, he has made 3 bids for the company, the last being a 23.5 share in $56 billion offer for WBD. In response to CEO Zaslav, it has been rebuffed each offer as he angles for a high-stakes bidding war that could push the sell price well above $25 a share. Zaslav is said to expect another bid shortly from Ellison, possibly a public or hostile bid in the coming days. Meanwhile, as the Post first reported, Ellison, on advice from his legal team and bankers, isn't expected to bid much more than $25 a share for WBD, and he believes he's got good reason for staying pat. Namely, he believes he's got the backing of President Trump. That's right, Trump's getting involved, my friends. His wager is that a combination of regulatory hurdles and personal animus from the commander-in-chief himself poses a major roadblock for a slew of rival bidders, including Netflix, Amazon, and media giant Comcast, which currently controls Trump-hating cable news, MSNBC, and, of course, NBC. A Comcast spokesperson has declined to comment, but people close to the company's CEO, Brian Roberts, tells the Post that Trump could be persuaded to approve the deal, given that Comcast is splitting all its cable properties, such as MSNBC and its financial news network, CNBC, into a separate company. Nevertheless, Ellison's advisors believe Trump will not approve Comcast's ownership over the anti-MAGA programming of course, MSNBC and NBC. Netflix and Amazon face prosaic, though equally difficult hurdles involving antitrust. A rep for WBD declined to comment. A Paramount Skydance spokeswoman declined to comment. And Zaslav has declined to comment. People are keeping things pretty close to the vest because we are in the midst of a massive bidding war and nobody wants to show their cards right now. We have heard in recent days that the WGA is trying to stop the merger from going through. Yeah. And we have heard that Ellison is trying to angle Zaslav into possibly a CEO position, keeping him on as CEO if they do buy the company so that he is able to continue to oversee everything, but work more as a CEO capacity instead of the owner capacity, if that makes sense. So I want to ask you, what do you think now that we are in the midst of the bidding war? We have 3 denials. We have Ellison maybe trying to position Zaslav as staying on as a CEO. And of course, Netflix and Amazon, and maybe more like Apple are hanging in the wind to try and bid on this bad boy as well. Woo,
Yeah. This is something that's been going on for years, right?
Oh, yeah.
Zaslav bought this company to sell it. He never bought it to keep it.
Yeah.
And initially, he was going to sell it 2 years into Paramount before Skydance bought them. But WB is in way more debt than Zaslav knew. They fudged the books before Zaslav bought them. And they even sued the people who he bought it from for more money. And I really think that he really wants to get more money for the amount of debt that he has to pay off for WWE. I'm about to say WWE for WB.
That's gonna be on the bidding war next. No,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And I think he's going to push. I think Paramount this is theirs to lose. I really think that Paramount is going to win because they have Trump's backing. We saw them already bend the knee to him so Skydance could buy them, and he approved that merger, and that did result in the cancellation of a late night show.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think it's just a situation where Paramount is going to buy WB, which is going to suck. And it's going to be just a high price. Like if they're not selling at 56 million, they probably want to get closer to 100.
Right.
Or 56 billion. They probably want to get closer to 100 billion.
I'll do it for 56 million, man.
So I think I do. And Zaslav being a CEO of a company that he owned, like why would he do that? He already owns Discovery. Yeah. Like I don't see that being enticing for him. It's the money that he's in for.
100%. He's all about the dollars. And it's interesting because when I had you on our show, man, we talked about this maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And we knew that this was Zaslav's plan, right? Is to start a bidding war, increase the price, maximize the price, and get as much money as he can. And so there's some interesting things going on right now. As we know, we're going to get into James Gunn and his comments on what this means for him if it is purchased by Paramount Skydance. But there is a lot of things hanging in the wind. Luca and Delaney, the president and co-chair of CEO of Warner Brothers right now, just got re-upped on their deal. So they are locked in, which makes the purchase even more tolerable or favorable for someone purchasing it, because now they have someone locked in and you need to honor the contracts from before. So they're like, perfect. We already got someone at the top. That sweetened the deal even more. So there's a lot of things that have started to slowly trickle in, get signed, get situated, get movies out. Superman is going to be filming in April. That bad boy is going to be coming out maybe by the time we hear about a purchase. So everything is leading up to sweeten the pot even more. Unfortunately, you're right that Skydance is very much the front runners to buy this bad boy. And I don't know what that means for the movie theater going business, for physical media, for output of movies, of output with HBO. I don't think this is going to be a small thing that if they buy it, we're not going to see how much difference. I think if Paramount buys this, we're going to see a lot of different things going on with Warner Brothers, and mostly it's not going to be good for the audience. There's going to be more red tape, more control over the stuff that gets made. And unfortunately, the art is going to suffer. The art is going to suffer so much so that the WGA is trying to stop the merger.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they tried to stop the Fox and Disney merger, and that did not happen. Yep. They tried to stop Paramount and Skydance merger. That did not happen. So their track record for stopping these mergers is not
but it's the loss of jobs. It's the change of culture for Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has been in the forefront of pushing diversity and progression in a lot of their premium shows and showcasing different kinds of people in different kinds of roles. And do we get a one battle after another if Paramount owns WB? Do we get Sinners if Paramount owns WB? I don't think so, because they don't do things like that on their side. They have a very conservative view in terms of what they do. They are the Yellowstone factory over there.
Yeah.
Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, they love Tyler Sheridan over there. They really Taylor Sheridan. They love him. Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of people I've seen online say, but why would they sell? They had the best year. They had the most #1 movies open this year. Why would they sell? They're sitting pretty. They're good. The truth is that Warner Brothers has not been good for a very long time. And when you sell high.
Yeah.
And because they had the stellar year in the box office that they did have, this is exactly the reason why Zaslav thinks it's the time to sell now. So for a lot of people that are curious, well, why would they sell? Because they had such a great year. That is exactly the reason why they are trying to sell right now, while they're on top, while the projects are hot, while the studio is hot. So,
and one good year doesn't cover all the bad years that you had. Exactly. And one bad year doesn't disrupt all the good years you have. A lot of Disney's having a bad year, but that doesn't mean they're going to go on sale all of a sudden. It's just one bad year, you know?
Yeah. No, you took the words out of my mouth. So that is the lay of the land right now. We wanted to go over it with you guys, just give you a little an idea of like where they're at with the bidding process, who's the front runner, what it's going to look like after, because unfortunately, this storied and iconic studio will be getting sold shortly, and we will be seeing a lot of changes, and this is going to affect a lot of the artists and people behind the projects and the things that we love being changed in a big bad way. So stay tuned. We will report on it. We will come out and give you guys updates as they come out. Let us know your guys' thoughts. What do you think about the merger? What do you think about Skydance potentially being the ones that are going to do it? Drop a comment below. And while you're at it, let us know one of your favorite Warner Brothers movies. We got to remember those bad boys, because even if the thing is going, doesn't mean they can take away the iconic movies that we've seen from Warner Brothers. So drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, I wanted to get into this because of the wars, the bidding wars, Warner Brothers going bye-bye. What is one of the big selling points of this Warner Brothers merger or purchase? It is, of course, the DCU property in DC Studios. And who is at the top of DC Studios? It is our co-CEO, James Gunn, who is leading the charge. And there's been a lot of rumors that if the purchase does go through, James Gunn is unfortunately going to be out. And it's unfortunate in the sense that he was just getting started, and we haven't seen really what he can do within the DC universe. Well, my friends, this comes to us from Yahoo.com. And specifically Superhero Hype. They say a recent comment by James Gunn, co-CEO of DC Studios and the creative force behind the DC Universe's current slate, has started widespread speculation about his possible exit amidst talks of the Warner Brothers sale. You know, after all, the Warner Brothers Discovery merger has gotten fans watching out for what the future holds for DC Studios in general and its leadership. Rumors of Warner Brothers Discovery sale have gained serious traction after Paramount Global reportedly made several failed offers to buy the company. Now, in an interview with Boba Talks, Gunn addresses the long-term direction of the DC universe, particularly regarding how storylines from shows like Peacemaker Season 2, Lanterns, will connect to upcoming movies such as Superman, Man of Tomorrow. James Gunn said, yes, they definitely go significantly further than Man of Tomorrow. So now, whether or not that'll be me that's able to fulfill that promise, he laughs, depends on a lot of things in life. But yeah, this line specifically, you know, addresses Gunn's hesitation, immediately igniting speculation among DC fans online. He also says, if I stay, though this interpretation remains unconfirmed, if that means if he stays with the company because of the merger. While some others suggest that there's a reason that he jumped Superman, Man of Tomorrow to the front of the line and is shooting it 2 months before Supergirl comes out. So I want to ask you, Zach, what do you think? Oh, this didn't show. What do you think of the potential of, if Warner Brothers Discovery is bought, that this will lead to James Gunn's exit of DC Studios?
If the buying happened today, I would say there's a high chance that he was out, right? I think it'll be a high chance that he's out if it happened today. But it's going to be a long time before this goes through. The numbers have to keep coming back. There's going to be a bidding war. Then they have to approve it. It took a long time before Disney actually acquired Fox. And then the changes started happening. So I think that by the time that they do this, he will have Lanterns out. I think he'll have Man of Tomorrow out, Supergirl out, and possibly Clayface. If Lanterns is a hit show, if Superman and Man of Tomorrow does $200 million more than Superman did, if Supergirl does really good and is a hit, and Clayface is the Oscar play that we think it is, if all that happens before the merger fully sets, I can totally see him staying, because they're gonna look, he's hitting all these quadrants with just this one studio, with just these superhero stuff, and people are taking these movies seriously. But if it doesn't happen, we could say, hey, your Superman movie, after all these changes, the hubbubaloo and all this stuff that happened, didn't do as well as Man of Steel. It didn't do as well as the Batman. And then you can talk about Creature Commandos not really catching a big audience, and Peacemaker also not catching a big audience outside of the diehard fans. So that's where they could be like, well, let's go a different route. Or maybe a demotion and like put someone just above him and make him like a creative director, and he's not the head of the studio.
And he'll have to be willing to do that, right? I mean, his whole point of view is like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to have the control to like be able to do what we need to do to make sure DCU has one mind pushing the whole universe forward instead of all these different people. And I think you're right. I think, if these movies in the DC universe currently with James Gunn at the helm hits, by the time the merger happens, in a sense, he might be too big to fail, where they won't be able to fire him because of the success that he's had within the DC universe.
Yep.
I do want to ask you, though, do you think rushing to film Man of Tomorrow in April has anything to do with the bidding wars that are happening with Warner Brothers currently?
I can see that, with the fact that there was no talks about a sequel, so doing it so fast. The fact that it's going to be coming out 2 years after that's so unheard of.
Yeah.
And they're filming it already and they're going straight for it. I do feel like they were like, hey, Superman did really well. Maybe it was under what we thought, but we're getting the fans back on our side. There's so much positive talk. Now casual people will get on the train. Let's get Man of Tomorrow out. Let's get this Superman back into this world, and it will do even better. And it's gonna give us another #1 hit that makes more money, and it's gonna raise the evaluation for Warner Brothers, because DC now is a hot brand. And also DC beat out Marvel, and you could say Man of Tomorrow probably will beat out anything Marvel does that year, maybe except Secret Wars. So I do think that's part of like Zaza's like, I know you want to do your authority and all this other bullshit. Get Superman back out there.
Yeah, get Batman going. Get this going.
Yeah.
Get the Batman 2 going. Like that's like we want to look more attractive to the buyers, is what it feels like. So I totally agree. I mean, I don't think there's any way it doesn't play a factor in shooting Superman 2 months before Supergirl comes out. You know what I mean? So
I have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
So far, every project in DCU has James Gunn's fingers deep in it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think if he can't have someone else come into his playground and make a hit, because big studios don't like when one person's fingerprint is on a whole like slate of stuff, because then it's like if you remove them, then it just falls apart. Do you think that if he can't get someone else to come in, like if Supergirl doesn't hit for whatever reason, or Clayface doesn't hit for whatever reason, only the stuff that James Gunn do hits, Do you think that will be a possibility where they're like, okay, we got to get rid of him because we got to get somebody that can bring a bunch of different kind of creatives in, so we don't have to only depend on them?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think there's going to be a lot of changes with the purchase in general,
Yeah.
but I do think that if Supergirl hits and Clayface hits, it's actually going to do a reverse effect and show James Gunn that you need to give the reins more to other creators to really round out your DC universe.
Yeah.
That is really what I think, that the success of projects that he didn't necessarily lead will show James Gunn that this is where we need to go, where you're not having your hands in every single project and having that James Gunn stamp, but really giving the creators life to breathe into their own respective DC projects that they're working on. So
Yeah.
I think that will be an effect for if there's success in those projects. If there is no success in their projects and we're like, darn, like it seems like only the successful things are anything that James Gunn is heavily involved in, that is also a negative effect, because with Kevin Feige, he really gave the reins to a lot of like first time filmmakers, like the Russo brothers. They were only on like Community and TV stuff. They didn't really have like movies under their belt. And the fact that Kevin Feige was able to facilitate in a way like a general manager and like let the head coach make the decisions and really spearhead those projects, even with Guardians and having James Gunn spearhead that franchise, it really lent itself well to like building out the universe in a way where it felt like these projects were different, but still a part of the same universe at the same time. And if you keep having James Gunn have to have his hands so deep in these projects that they just feel like a spinoff of James Gunn, then it's not going to really make your slate robust. It's going to make it very narrow because everything needs to be in the viewpoint of what James Gunn feels that this should be. And I don't think that lends well to a productive, fun universe. I think it gets stale after a while.
Yeah, I agree. That was a great analogy, the general manager and having coaches and
yeah,
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, but I'm still excited for the DCU. I've seen a lot of vitriol on the things that we posted about James Gunn. Just saying, well, DC is just horrible anyways, whether it's James Gunn or anything. You don't know what you don't know. And so if you're going to go into it with a negative mindset, then you're going to have negative thoughts about it when you come out of it. I think every project you got to give the benefit of the doubt, because you might be happily surprised. And if you're always negative, like DC hasn't been in the right hands forever, then you're not going to enjoy anything that comes out. And you're setting yourself up for disappointment every time. So all I can say is try to have an open mind when you go into these projects. Don't compare it to the last thing that you saw or the last thing that James Gunn or DCU did, but really like let it breathe on its own and then make your thoughts. You know what I mean? That's where I think you'll enjoy the stuff more. So that's my 2 cents. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think that James Gunn is safe depending on, the success of his next few projects? Or do you think that this might be a sign that if Warner Brothers is purchased, his job might be on the outskirts as well? Drop a comment below. Let us know what you guys think. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. Uh-oh. I'm getting rainbow wheels. Can you see me, Zach?
Yeah, I can still see you. I can hear you and see you.
Okay, perfect. With that down, I wanted to get into this. As you guys know, Star Wars on the big screen has been a hit and miss the past, 10 years or so. We've gotten stuff that's exciting, like Force Awakens, that has a ton of potential. And then we got something like Rise of Skywalker that leaves a lot to be desired. We have Andor that gave, you know, the creatives their own leeway to play with the lore and make something unique, still in the vein of the Skywalker saga, but still stand out on its own. And so we've seen a lot of fluctuation when it comes to the projects that Lucasfilm has been putting out, and also that Disney has been allowing Lucasfilm to put out. Well, it seems like Disney put their foot down on a greenlit script from Lucasfilm about Kylo Ren. And this comes to us from Kylo Ren's dad. No, he's dead. No, I'm just kidding. And this comes to us from World of Reels. They say Star Wars fans are pissed. They're expressing frustration with Disney after Adam Driver revealed that executives Bob Iger and Alan Bergman rejected a standalone film focused on Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, the character Driver portrayed in the most recent trilogy. The screenplay was titled The Hunt for Ben Solo. According to Collider, some fans took their campaign a step further by funding a plane to fly a banner over Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California, reading "Save the Hunt for Ben Solo." There have been many more updates since. Soderbergh has now taken to Blue Sky to elaborate about how close we actually got to this film happening. Apparently, it marked the first time Lucasfilm had ever presented a fully approved project to Disney that did not move forward. In the aftermath, Soderbergh said, in the aftermath of the Hunt for Ben Solo situation, I asked Kathleen Kennedy if Lucasfilm had ever turned in a finished movie script for Greenlit to Disney and had gotten rejected. She said, no, this was the first. A new report from the playlist certainly won't calm fans down. They are saying that Soderbergh's project, known internally as Quiet Leaves, was far beyond an initial concept or pitch. It had a finished screenplay and was moving forward into early preparation and staffing. Scott Z. Burns was brought on to finalize the script, reportedly earning more than any writer in Lucasfilm history. Burns had prior connections to Star Wars, having contributed uncredited work on Rogue One before Tony Gilroy completed that film. High-level Lucasfilm executives, including Kennedy, were deeply involved in development and were reportedly pleased with the scripts. Sources indicated the delay came from Disney executives who raised concerns over narrative continuity, specifically how Ben Solo could be alive after the rise of Skywalker. Lucasfilm leadership had considered the story logically sound, and some insiders view the halt as politically influenced, coinciding with Bob Iger's move to elevate Alan Bergman as his successor. The fallout reportedly affected Bergman's standing, while other executives gained favor. Soderbergh and Adam Driver received no payment, while Burns earned over $3 million for his script. So I want to ask you, actually, let me give my thoughts, because I've been holding this in ever since I heard about this news. Since when are we going to act like Kylo Ren is the best character in the sequel trilogy and needs a movie of his own? At no fault of Adam Driver, this character was written terribly, and at no time did I desire another project to have this character in. Yes, to the credit of Scott Z. Burns, Adam Driver as an actor, and Soderbergh as a great director, that is a great duo that could make a really good film. But am I dying for an Adam Driver-led Kylo Ren movie after what I saw from 3 movies? No, I have no desire based on what I saw. It doesn't mean that there isn't a great movie, but why are we so attached to the Skywalker saga when it hasn't been working for so many years? So, yeah, is it a cool idea and a cool concept and great creatives? 100%. But does it really demand the vitriol from the fans demanding a Ben Solo movie? I don't think so. And I'm kind of shocked that people are like, oh, Disney did it again. Like, there's no way that we could tell if this was going to be a good movie at all or not. And nobody was asking for it until they told you, hey, Soderbergh, turn this in. So no one was like, we need more Kylo Ren stories after. So now you want a Kylo Ren story? It just, yeah, I don't know. So what do you think about Soderbergh's thoughts about never getting denied a greenlit Lucasfilm script from Disney?
It's crazy.
Project in general. What did you think when you heard about this?
I like Kylo Ren Ben Solo in the first two movies. He was one of my favorite characters in this trilogy because I really like the first two movies. Yeah, and then everything fell apart in the last one. But I think the funny thing of like, how does Ben Solo still live? The name of the movie is The Search for Ben Solo. So it sounds like it addresses the fact that he died in the last one in the title of the movie.
Right.
It was a force situation. It's not like he died because his head got chopped off. So somewhere, maybe his force thing is out there and there's a way Star Wars never heard of. You could conjure it. This is a franchise that literally has no rules, really. Like it does, but as the franchise goes, they just can add stuff. It's not pulling from source material. So that's just a weird reason. It must have been like they just don't like Steven Soderbergh. And I can see that because Steven Soderbergh, has he made a big blockbuster hit before? I don't know. I've seen some of his films. I feel like he makes small dramas. And this is something that's probably going to have to cost $100 million to make. I don't know if they trusted him with that, especially with Adam Driver, who doesn't sell any movies outside of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why there's so much vitriol for this is because there's just a void of lack of Star Wars content on the big screen. People want to see Star Wars in movies. I think especially with Dune coming out and how similar they are, people are thirsting for them to have something like that and be like, we have it too. So the fact that we could have had Steven Soderbergh, who is a credible director, Adam Driver coming into a different situation, and maybe to be able to be written better, so you can use his acting ability and do like a really cool story. The idea of that not happening, and maybe it could even come out this year if they would have greenlit it at the time. I think that's why people are pissed, because we don't have any main Star Wars movies coming out. If movies were coming out, no one would care that this didn't get greenlit, because we would be getting some good stuff right now. I think that's the only reason.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know, in the long scheme of things, right? Would I want a Rey trilogy that they're working on, or a Kylo Ren spinoff and some kind of like, you know, Ronin type traveler? Of course I want the Kylo Ren one over, you know, Rey, who is a lackluster character as well. So it's no knock on the actors or the characters, but for how they've been written for 3 movies straight, it doesn't give me any desire to see them continue. On top of that, we are so stuck in the Skywalker saga that we can't move past it and create anything new or way past this universe. This is a galaxy far, far away that's huge and vast and all this stuff, yet we're always so small. We always make it small and contain into just the Luke Skywalker, the Skywalker saga. And so to have a trilogy on Rey, or to have a spinoff and pay $3 million for a script for Kylo Ren, I don't understand this need to stay in the Skywalker saga instead of going out and creating something new and awesome within this universe. It doesn't make sense to me.
I've been saying this for a long time. You need to move away from the Skywalkers. They were great, they're iconic, they're legendary, but they have had 9 movies. 9 movies and spin-off shows that they have affected. You know, like it's enough. There's never going to be a time now where a new generation of Star Wars fans can come in and attach to their characters. You know what I mean? That's what the last trilogy should have been, but then they reattached it again to the Skywalkers, even renaming one of their characters Rey Skywalker for no reason. So they really need to move on, create a set of new characters. Star Trek does it really well. right? Like we
Right.
have, you know, Kirk, but we also have other sets of characters that are iconic within the franchise that you can go to and keep reinventing itself. They need to do that with Star Wars as well. Move from the era that we're in and progress it. I want to see some more science fiction stuff that we haven't gotten yet in this world. I want to go to a planet that we've never seen before. I want to see a villain that we've never seen before. Them maybe in a situation that we've never seen before. I think that's what they need to focus on.
I totally agree. You know, those movies, even the prequels and the sequel trilogy, even though they have a lot of problems, there's a lot of great parts, and I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I think Andor and Rogue One and these movies showed you that there's more you can do, whether it's the tone, the way you're telling the stories, the heroines of the story, the villain of the story. There's so much more in texture that you can add to these movies to really make them pop. And when you have movies like Dune, where you can see the height of where we're at with like science fiction storytelling and technology, then you're like, well, why can't Star Wars be like that? Like, it's right there. And so what I would like to see is like, we need to do in the Old Republic, the Knights of the Old Republic, something like that, where we don't know if it's 1,000 years before, 1,000 years after. It doesn't really matter, but we are set on a new planet with different characters, with royalty, with people vying for the throne, with heroes, unlikely villains, heroes that become villains, villains that become the hero. There's so much that you can do, and you can make Star Wars feel like Dune and feel like more mature and heightened, cinematic and real and beautiful and ugly, and it's spectacle. Like, there's just so much more you can do. And I feel like this news, it had the opposite effect on fans. Fans should not be like, oh my God, why didn't they make that? Fans should be like, oh my God, why are you still so focused on these characters in the Skywalker saga? Why did you pay $3 million for a script about a character that was done? Why are we not moving forward? Why are we not pushing Star Wars forward into the 21st century? You know what I mean? Like, we are right there. And you saw with Andor, when you have that kind of storytelling and it grows with the audience that were kids and now they're adults, that there's so much more storytelling that you can add to the texture of Star Wars. Not everything needs to be adult and serious. No. Not everything needs to be for kids, but you can have new Star Wars franchises that are aimed at both and really make this a robust universe, and you're not doing it. And having the story come out of Ben Solo just proves that you are still stuck on the past and not pushing Star Wars forward.
Yeah. And have a plan. I think that's the main thing. What's the plan?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to have like an end game. You don't need to be like the MCU and have a bunch of movies that come out. Have a trilogy plan or a quadrilogy, whatever, how many movies you want to make. Have a plan set for an era of movies that you want to do. You can have spin-off shows to fill in gaps, but just have a plan. Have one writer. If you want to bring in different directors with that one writer, that's totally fine. And let that person write and create something and have different people direct each movie so they have flavors. That's it. We don't need all this retreading.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think this made me sad. And a lot of people were like, oh, like, do the airplane thing and we got to demand this movie. It's like, no, we got to demand that Star Wars is continually being pushed forward for the next generation to see. And so I really think this was a bad sign that they're not have the right headspace for where Star Wars needs to go, that they're still stuck in the past. So another red flag from Kathleen Kennedy, who is not the worst, like people say, but we do need a change of scenery at the top to truly stop living in the past and push this great franchise even forward to where we can get like in the vein of Dune or something that Star Wars deserves, I think.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let me know below. Do you think that this was a great idea, the hunt for Ben Solo, and what a great team behind it? And do you think that maybe Disney had the right idea to not greenlit it and to try and push it forward, but they greenlit a Rey trilogy for some reason? Let us know your thoughts. Comment below, please. All right, guys. That will actually do it. We got through a lot of stuff. I should have added another goat or nope. I did want to give an update. So we did talk about this a few weeks ago, but the Batman writer, Mattson Tomlin for Batman 2, really wanted to make a Spider-Man 4 and said that he was trying to reach out to Sam Raimi, and he has an update for us, and he said the answer is no. So apparently that is not happening, but dreamers can dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was awesome. Zach, where can the good people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel at Zach Attack Reviews, where I talk about movies every week with you. And I have a Instagram account of Zach Attack RVS, and also a live stream that I do every week called Film Club, which this guy was on this Tuesday. So definitely go check that out, as we talked about a slew of movies and had a lot of fun and banter on it. And we have an Instagram called Film Club with Zach and Kenny. If you're in the chat, Kenny is my cinema buddy in crime. So go follow those, see all the updates that are coming, and we're having a lot of fun over here. And you'll see me every other Sunday on the Evan Edition.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Zach just put out a Shelby Oaks review, and as you guys know, it's every YouTuber's dream to create a movie, and even if it's mixed reviews, go out and support people that have a dream. It's a huge feat. And just go out to the movies in general. I'm going to go see Frankenstein in theaters on Tuesday, Guillermo del Toro's new movie. I'm hearing great things, so I'm so excited about that. You got anything that you're seeing this week that you're excited about?
Good. I have tickets for Friday to see Begonia. I had tickets Thursday, but I had to cancel it, family reasons. But I'm seeing it Friday. It comes out wide release on Friday, so I already got my tickets for that. There's a mystery movie this Monday that's 2 hours and 22 minutes, and I'm like, what movie could that be? But there's only front row seats left, so I think I'm gonna miss that. But yeah, right now I think I'm gonna watch Begonia, and then I think I'm gonna check out Good Boy, because that's now available for rental.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I wanted to check that out, but I'm hoping to show my wife Weapons. I think she is. I'll tell her just look away, at the
scary parts.
Story, parts. But I think that movie's funny as heck. So I think she will really enjoy it if she gives it a chance. So that is my project for getting Erica to watch a scary movie. But it is the holiday season, so watch a scary movie, watch a fun movie. We just got through Hocus Pocus 1 and 2 yesterday, so we are on that Halloween movie kick right now. But drop a comment below. Let us know what Halloween movies are your classics. Are you watching? Are you looking forward to watch? And we will see you guys next time.
Before we head out, I have a suggestion. Yes. Bone Lake for Halloween times. That also just came out rental. I just watched that. Really fun horror movie. Go check it out. I think you would have a lot of fun with your wife watching that as well, because it's about relationships. So that should be really, really fun to watch. Sorry to interrupt your Go back to like and subscribing and stuff. Definitely do that. Do your outro. But I think you would like Bone Lake a lot.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Any movie recommendations are good. You guys remember, please comment respectfully in the chat. Have a conversation. If you don't agree, I don't think it sparks a conversation when you say nope. So if you don't agree, leave a comment of why you don't agree. I think that's the best way to have a conversation and hear people out, because you never know if you have that openness to hear other people's point of view. So that's my 2 cents. Comment, like, subscribe, be safe, go see a movie, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.
It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition.